it's time. I will be crocheting the No Face tapestry and turning it into a crochet sweater. I've been saying that I wanted to do this crochet sweater for a very, very long time. The original tapestry, is that a bug? No, it's a shadow. The original tapestry is by a very talented tapestry crochet designer called Ty Bailey, and I think maybe in like the first year and a half of me crocheting, they were offering 2 Studio Ghibli tapestry designs that they had designed for free, and I was like, oh, I want them. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do tapestry crochet at the time. I had never done anything tapestry at the time either. So I was like, well, this is like a, you know, a skill goal that I'm kind of working towards. Let me just download it. Let me just grab it because it was free as well. And I don't think that they offer the tapestries anymore. I actually can't remember. But I have had it sat in my inbox on my hard drive for a really, really long time. And if you remember my 2025 wishlist video last year, I did say that I wanted to make this into a crochet sweater. I didn't do it for 2025, mainly because the yarn that I had kind of assigned to it, or to this sweater, I had put in my wardrobe. It was out of my sight, out of my mind, and I honestly just completely forgot. So if you saw my 2026 crochet plans, you will know that this is something that I definitely want to achieve this year. So long story short, we are actually going to make this crochet sweater. Here is my color palette. So obviously for the actual No Face mask, there we're going to have black. There is a little bit of lilac, this kind of purpley shade for the little kind of like what's the word? It's not blush, obviously. It's like, you know, when like in anime characters when they're a bit embarrassed and it's got like their cheeks go blushed, but like, you know, No Face has his own, but it's not because he's embarrassed, you know what I mean? So that's the purple, and I am also going to be using this for like the body of the crochet sweater. So this will also be the color of my back panel and then like the background as well. And then we have this like creamy ecru sort of shade, off-white sort of shade. That is going to be like the mask, because I didn't want it to be like bright stark white. I just don't like how that looks. So this color is going to be the mask. And then I got this minty color because I want to add like a little fun element to the sleeves. This is not going to be in the actual tapestry. I think I'm only going to add this to the sleeves. So here is the yarn that I'll be using. Obviously I have more of it, so I don't know if I'm going to have enough of the lilac yarn, but I'm very glad that I have the minty color because I can incorporate that into the sleeves, and I think that I will, with the minty colour, there will be enough yarn for an entire sweater. But I definitely think I'll have enough of like the individual colours for the actual tapestry part, and I'll probably have some left over, to be honest, which is no bother to me. I like adding to my little like scrappy yarn collection, especially if it's like a fun colour that I can make a fun colourway out of. But funnily enough, I'm currently wearing the first ever tapestry crochet sweater that I did. This is my Uzma Kappa sweater, which is from Monsters University. Uzma Kappa, or OK, is one of the fraternities in the movie, and this is like a biblically accurate sweater that they wear in the movie. So if you've seen the movie, you probably see that they wear this as sweater. I did it the exact same colours. The only difference is I added some fun stripes on the sleeves. But yeah, this is the first tapestry that I ever did. I don't have a pattern for it, nor will I be making one. If anything has like an IP, if anything is like, you know, copyrighted, you will never see a pattern from me. I'm just putting it out there. I don't want to run the risk of ever being sued, especially by Disney, who love to send a little lawsuit out every now and again and a cease and desist. I will not be doing that. So no pattern, but you know, feel free to make your own. It's really fun. I love the sweater. I wear it all the time. But yeah, anyway, enough on this. I think I'm going to start on the back panel first, and then I can kind of use that as like a rough gauge. And I suppose because I'm not actually making the chart, I don't really need a lot of like, there's not going to be much effort in terms of like where to place the actual artwork, the tapestry piece, you know, the face, the No Face. I'm going to be doing all in single crochet. I am back to doing boring old single crochet. I think for my last tapestry sweater, I obviously loved doing a different stitch pattern and then having this, which was my stab sweater, I had a different stitch pattern and then had the tapestry part as single crochet, because as much as I enjoy single crochet for tapestry sweaters, I just was getting a bit bored doing it over and over again. But I feel like enough projects have passed for me to now be like, I'm okay to do single crochet again. Also as well, because of the fact that the tapestry is so large and it's going to be covering like the large majority of the sweater, I think it just makes more sense to do the whole thing in single crochet. Like, I'm actually fine to do that. So yes, I'm going to start with the back panel. I have noticed that on the pattern, so on the actual tapestry, I think it's like 70 odd stitches, or I think it's like just 70 or 71 stitches across. I think I'll probably need a little bit more than that for like a kind of slouchier fit, or like a regular fit for me. And then the height of it I think is like 76 rows, I think. So obviously I don't want the actual like no face to be like right at the top, so I'll probably need to make it maybe like however many rows, like have it finish, because ideally I want the tapestry to finish at like here, and then I can make a neckline. So from here to like wherever will need to be 76 rows for the tapestry, and then obviously I'll need to make it longer for the actual like neckline shoulder part, you know. So that's the plan. As much as I obviously want it to be the focal piece, I do want it to kind of spread throughout the entire sweater, and I want it to be the majority of the sweater. I don't want like his face and his eyes to be like up here, because I think that would just look silly. So that's the plan. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to actually being able to do this, because it's been a project I've wanted to do for such a long time. I love Studio Ghibli movies. They are like the first anime that I've ever watched in my entire life, and I think I've watched Spirited Away, I don't even want to know, quite a lot, okay? Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, My Neighbor Totoro are my big three. I have them all on DVD. I've watched them all a million times. I love those movies so much. They are very like comforting to me, and they are very like wholesome, and yeah, they're just like, they are my comfort movies ultimately. I love having merch for things that I love, obviously, as I'm sure you can tell from the many other things that I've made. And I do have like the odd Studio Ghibli t-shirt. I think I've got one Spirited Away t-shirt, I've got one My Neighbor Totoro t-shirt, and I really want there is another No Face one that I want. But I love No Face as a character, and I also love No Face aesthetically. So this is a win-win for me. I'm very excited to make this sweater, and I think it's gonna be real cute. Okay, little update. So I have used up one ball of the purple yarn. I'm obviously working my back panel, as I mentioned. I've gone for, yeah, just a regular fit, nothing crazy. And yeah, I've used up one ball here. So this is how far I got in terms of one ball of yarn. I'm now on my second ball of purple, and I reckon, I actually haven't counted how many rows I've got, but I think I've got like 60 something. So I reckon, because obviously the tapestry is 76 rows, I've got yarn in my mouth. Blah, blah. It's gone. Because the tapestry is 76 rows, I obviously want that to kind of sit, like the end of the tapestry to kind of sit like at my neckline, probably about here actually, and then the rest of it to be like, you know, the neckline. So I think I probably need to make it like 90 rows, maybe something like that. But obviously I will have a look, I'll keep going. I probably will need to use about 3 balls of yarn, or just over 2, I think, maybe like 2.5 for the back panel. I'm really hoping that I have enough of this like purpley colour yarn left. For the actual tapestry, in the face, like the graphic itself, there's only like a tiny bit of this purple for like the little cheek parts, and then obviously it will be the background color. So I'm hoping that I will have enough of this purple. I think definitely I will for the front panel, but I think I may struggle with the sleeves. But I am planning on incorporating this like minty color into the sleeve, so it'll be like this mint and purple. Hopefully I should have enough. Worst case scenario, I do have like more of the black, and I've got like a bit more of the cream, so like I can have like maybe this color in the creamy color, this color in the black, or like, you know, I can make something look cute, you know. Obviously ideally I'd like to have the sleeves in purple. I think that would look really nice. But yeah, that's my update. It's nothing fun, nothing crazy. It's just a whole lot of single crochet. I am still watching Buffy. If you watched my vlog for this sweater actually, which is currently in pattern testing. Will it be in pattern testing still by the time this video comes out? I don't know. If the pattern is out, I will link it in the description. I do still think it will be pattern testing though. So if you watch my vlog for this sweater, you know that I've been watching Buffy, and I'm still watching Buffy, and I'm really enjoying it. I still hate Xander. I hate him so much. I hate him so much. He's just such an awful character. And then I think I heard that like Joss Whedon, who's the guy who made Buffy or like wrote Buffy, he bases Xander off of himself. And it makes so much sense, because Xander like dates Cordelia. There's that episode where like he does like a love spell, and everyone's like fawning over Xander and like wants to have sex with him. And then like Faith has sex with Xander, and he's like really like, it's very like, I don't know what the word is to use it, but I'm like, oh, it makes sense that you've written this about yourself, because like so many like good things happen to Xander where like it's surrounded by women, and like these beautiful, hot, sexy, smart women are like obsessed with Xander. And like, why would they be? In a real world, why would any woman, anybody in breathing, be obsessed with Xander? Because he's fucking awful. Anyway, I really do not like him. I think as well, like, funny enough, when I was watching when I was younger, I think I used to find him annoying, but like I found him funny. Like, he was always like a bit of a comic relief, and like, yeah, every now and again there's like a mild bit of comic relief from him, but like ultimately he's just a guy. He's just a really annoying guy. It's a Sunday today. I'm working tomorrow. Do I need to do anything before tomorrow? No, I don't think so. I've got laundry to put out. That's it. All right, anyway, I'm gonna go crochet. We're gonna finish this back panel hopefully today, who knows, and then I will keep you posted. Okay friends, we have an update. I think this is a big slay, big slay. I think it's turning out so fucking fun. So I'm only going to be showing the back from now on, because I want to do like a grand reveal at the end. I'm sure if you've seen the thumbnail of this video, you know what it looks like, but I want to do a grand reveal. Let me live. So this is the back. Obviously, I have made quite a decent amount of progress on the actual tapestry. I don't think I have a huge amount left. I think I've probably got maybe about a quarter of the panel left to finish. I'd say maybe about 20-30 rows ish, but it's looking real good. And in terms of the ends as well, I don't have like a huge amount. It's actually not that crazy. I am doing intarsia, where I have bobbins for each color of yarn changes. I'm not floating my yarn and I'm not carrying my yarn. I did float it for this bit, this tiny little line, because I was like, I'm not adding a new bobbin for this it's like 3 stitches. So yes, it's going really well. I love the fact that I haven't had to like piss around too much with this tapestry as well, like in terms of the sizing. Lucky for me, because I'm plus size, it's actually worked out like perfect size. So I have done my panel, I think 90 stitches wide, and the tapestry is 70 or 71 stitches across. So obviously I've just added like a little bit of extra to the end, and I did do some maths to figure out like to make sure that the actual piece, the tapestry, was like perfectly centered. But other than that, I haven't actually had to do any faffing around. I haven't had to resize it. Also as well, I was a little bit not worried, but I was like, oh, there's only like a graph, but the pattern itself is very good because it's the graph, but it's also written instructions. So it tells you like 6 stitches black, change to cream, 6 stitches cream, or whatever, you know. So it tells you everything. You don't have to like sit there and count. but there is also a link to Stitch Fiddle, so I'm able to actually see the graph and then do my progress tracker on there. And I don't know if I've ever really talked about what Stitch Fiddle is. Obviously if you do tapestry crochet you probably know what Stitch Fiddle is, but it's basically a website where you can create the graphs and the charts to do tapestry crochet. It's what I always use for anything that I've designed myself, and I believe it's what like the majority of designers use. I don't know any tapestry people who use anything that's not Stitch Fiddle. So yeah, it's just a website. You can like draw your own stuff on there, you can like upload a photo and it converts it into a chart, and then you can edit things. There is a premium, like a pro version of it, where obviously it lets you do a lot more things. Those things are typically things to save you time and to save you a little bit of effort. I personally don't have the pro version because I just don't think I use it that enough to warrant the pro one, but I'm sure it unlocks like a lot of extra things that you're able to do. But one of the things I love about Stitch Fiddle, particularly when I'm doing something that's not my own chart, is that there is a progress tracker. So you have the entire chart with all of the little squares on it, and then the progress tracker basically highlights one of the rows so you can see exactly what row you're doing and obviously all of the stitches on that row, but it also tells you what number row you're on, so it's easier to keep track of like what number row you're on, and then obviously you just keep going up and up and up, or whichever way you're doing the tapestry. So that is what Stitch Fiddle is in a very small nutshell if you aren't familiar with it. Obviously there are people who talk about Stitch Fiddle and explain it in a better way. There's probably a bunch of tutorials and stuff out there as well, but yes, that's all you're going to get from me because that's all I care to share. But yeah, this is going really well. Is this like, so in this cream shade there seems to be, because it's like cream, it's not white, there seems to be like other colors of fiber in here, and it almost looks like my hair. Like it's like a dark brown. You probably look at my hair like, oh, you've got black hair. No, my hair is a very, very dark brown, but it kind of looks like my hair, and I'm like, have I just trapped a bunch of my fucking hair in this in the yarn? But I'm like, well, there's loads of it like throughout, and when I'm pulling it out I'm like, is this hair or is this yarn? I'm actually really not sure. But like, see, that came out of like the actual fiber, it seemed, but it's kind of like speckled. Let me check the actual yarn. Well, it is in the actual yarn. This is really weird. Can you see it? I don't think you can, but it's like tiny little brownish flecks. So yes, you just caught my live reaction of what the hell is this, and my figuring out what the hell's going on. But anyway, that's my update. It's going well. I probably won't show any more of the actual tapestry part of the rest of it. I will just let you know when it's done, because I want to do grand reveal, of course, and then I am going to be moving on to the sleeves. I don't think I'm going to block it. I think I'm just going to bung it in the washing machine when it's done, because I don't think it needs a block. Obviously, like, tapestry crochet is a little bit on the stiffer side, particularly that I'm doing single crochet, but yeah, I don't think it needs a block. I think I'll just put it in the washing machine for like a little relaxing blocking rather than a stretching and pinning blocking, because I know that if you wash it, technically that's blocking as well, but I'm talking about like putting it on a blocking mat and like pinning it, I probably won't do that. So yes, not long to go of the actual tapestry, and then I will be doing the sleeves, and I want to do something fun with the sleeves. Obviously I have that minty colour which I showed you guys right at the beginning. I'm thinking maybe like a fun checkerboard situation. Obviously I need to kind of like see how much of the purple yarn I will have left, because I think I dug into my like second to last skein, so I've got like one, and then one full skein, and then one that I've like just dived into. So I don't know how much of that yarn I'm gonna have left. I will obviously cross that. Oh, the cat. Oh, it hurt me, it stopped. What was I saying? Obviously I'll cross that bridge when it comes to it, when it comes to like what I'm going to do, but I obviously do have that minty colour which I do want to incorporate into the sweater somehow, and I will find a way. I am going to be doing some editing today. I need to do some laundry and stuff, so I'm probably going to crochet a little bit in the evening, and that's about it. That's my update. I'll see you soon. Okay, it's update time. So my front and back panels have now been joined. I have woven in all of the ends, and all of the ends on the actual tapestry. I'm not going to show you the whole tapestry just yet, but here is a little sneaky peek of how it's looking. It looks really, really good. I love the kind of sizing as well. I feel like it's going to be a nice slouchy, just like regular fit on me as well. But I obviously now need to like work on the sleeves, and my only issue is that I don't have a huge amount of this kind of purple color left. This is all I have left, and I obviously need it for the sleeves, the neckline ribbing, the bottom ribbing, and the sleeve ribbing. And I was originally going to incorporate this kind of like minty bluey green sort of shade into the actual sleeves, because I kind of want to do like a checkerboard sleeve, but my original plan was to do it with this lilac colour, like checkerboard with these two. But what I'm thinking is that I will seam up the sides of the sweater, and then I will do the neckline ribbing and the bottom ribbing, and then do the sleeves in the round, because I don't want any other colours for the neckline and the bottom ribbing. I do want it to be this purple. So I think if I work the sleeves in the round, then obviously I can seam it all up, do the bottom ribbing, and then do the neckline ribbing first, and then whatever I have left I can incorporate into the sleeves. And so because of that, I don't think I'm gonna have enough of this colour to do checkerboard with this minty colour. So I think I'm gonna do like a checkerboard with the creamy colour, which is like the shade that I used for the mask of No Face. So I think that makes the most sense, because I don't usually do my sleeves in a round. Not for any particular reason, I just prefer doing it in panels. I think especially where I typically will block the panels separately, or have like definitely got into the habit of blocking the panels separately, I enjoy doing the sleeves in panels, because then I can like block the sleeves separately as well, if that makes sense. So I am not planning on blocking this properly, like I'm just gonna bung it in the washing machine. So I think that kind of like works in my favor this time around, and I don't mind working in the round for the sleeves. I just also like find it a bit cumbersome, because obviously like my sweaters are usually like quite big. It's just a bit like cumbersome to work in the round when you've got this like big massive kind of project on your lap sort of thing. But it's not the end of the world. I can do it, I don't mind doing it. It's just like not necessarily my favorite way of doing sleeves. But yeah, I think that's what the plan is. That's the POA. But I wanted to obviously show you where I'm at so far. I'm loving the tapestry. I think it looks so good, especially now I've weaved in the ends, or woven in the ends. I think it looks so fun, and the tapestry is definitely like the star of the show. Like I think it finishes like basically just under the neckline, and it's like the entire sweater. So it's like covering the whole of the sweater, which usually isn't what I would go for, and I would probably have made it a little bit smaller if I was like making the graph myself, but I actually kind of love it. Ironically, I'm wearing one of them now. I think with a lot of my tapestry pieces, I do try and make it a little bit more centered, like on my chest and stuff in particular, because obviously where I usually have to make the body panels a little bit bigger to go across my boobs and my like lower stomach, I usually have the tapestry be a little bit more centered. So I think it's quite fun having a piece where it's just like, you know, very front and center, very much the focal piece, and like takes up the whole kind of panel. Curious how the sleeves are gonna go. I think it's gonna look really cute, but obviously I think I'm gonna have to like play yarn chicken a little bit with this purple yarn, which I don't mind so much. I think I'm just gonna have to like concentrate a little bit more in terms of like how much of this purple I'm using for the sleeves, and then like the sleeve ribbing and blah blah blah. So I will keep you posted obviously on how that goes. It is update time. So the first sleeve is officially done. I love how it looks. I think it's turned out really, really cute. I was a little bit unsure how I was gonna feel about the like checkerboard insertion, because obviously there's no checkerboard throughout the entire sweater. Looking at it from the front, obviously, like I said, I'm not going to show you until the end, but looking at it from the front, I do think it's a lot more fun, and there is an element of cohesion because of the creamy colour that is also used in like the main part of the mask, so it doesn't kind of just look like it's like plonked on there. I think it looks really, really cute. I did a try on of it yesterday. It's the perfect sleeve length, and when I was doing it, I basically was really unsure about how much of the purple yarn I was going to have left. So I think I mentioned, but what I did was I seamed up the entire sweater. I did the bottom ribbing, I did the neckline ribbing, and then I had exactly one skein, 100 grams of the purple left. And so to make sure that I had like an even amount for each sleeve, I basically wound it up into 150 gram cake, and then I just left the other just as like the skein, and then I knew that I had X amount for, well, 50 grams for each sleeve. So I knew that once I used up that cake or that leftover amount for one sleeve, that was all I had, and I couldn't like dip into the other bit basically. So that was my thought process. And so what I did with sleeve number 1 is that this was kind of like obviously my trial sleeve in terms of how much yarn I could use, but I did like, I think it was about 10 rows of the purple, then I did the checkerboard, and then I was originally going to finish the checkerboard at this point, and then I would have had 15 rows of the purple and then the ribbing. But as I was kind of doing it, I was like, with the purple, I was like, the yarn is actually running a lot lower than I would like, especially that I need to do the ribbing as well. And I knew I was going to do like a cinched cuff, I knew I was going to cinch in the sleeves on the final few rows, but I was like, it's a little bit too close for comfort. And obviously with checkerboards, it's like, I don't like having it like stop halfway through a checkerboard. I want it to be like a full check, if that makes sense. So I think I got like 10 rows in of the purple and then just frogged it back, did an extra square, extra block of the checkerboard, and then I started with the purple. And I did have a little bit of that left, so I do think that I will have some of the purple yarn left. This is all that I have left over for sleeve number 2. And then yeah, I just finished it off by cinching in the sleeve, doing a nice cinched cuff, and I just went for like a regular length cuff on that sleeve. And then I am now currently just recreating it for sleeve number 2. I am probably about, I'd say, just under halfway of the whole entire sleeve, including like the ribbing and stuff. And yes, like I said, this is all of the purple yarn that I have left, which I will be using for the end of this sleeve and then the ribbing of this sleeve as well. So I think I will, like I said, have a little bit left of this purple, but not like a huge amount that it would have impacted the sweater in any way. So yeah, that's my update. I think it looks really, really good. Like I said, I did do a try on, and sizing wise, it is exactly what I want. It's just a regular length, a little bit slouchy, not like tight, but not super oversized. The sleeves are a really good length and a really good width as well. They don't feel super tight either. I am unsure about whether I'm going to block or not block. I'm kind of like debating it, like properly pinning it down, blocking. I don't really need to manipulate the sizing, but I do think, because obviously I'm using a lot of single crochet, which is a very short stitch, the sleeves are a little bit on the stiffer side. So I'm hoping that like just bunging it in the washing machine will just help that. From memory, because it's been a really long time since I've like not blocked something and just like washed it in the washing machine. And when I say blocked, I mean like wet blocking it and like pinning it down sort of thing. So it's been quite a while since I've just thrown it in the washing machine, and I'm trying to think like, did that affect any like stiffness? I think it did, especially when I wash my existing sweaters and like stuff that I've crocheted like ages ago, and I throw them in the washing machine. I do find that they come out a little bit more relaxed, so I'm hoping that that will help. I'm currently undecided, but I am swaying more towards washing it in the washing machine. But yes, the sleeves are a little bit on the stiffy yarner side, but that's okay. That is to be expected with kind of like a checkerboard and very short stitched piece. I've been watching the Traitors, so I started watching the Celebrity Traitors. I usually do watch like the regular one, but I didn't watch the celebrity one, so I was like, let me watch the celebrity one. I'm loving it so far. I think I'm like episode 5 or episode 6. Alan Carr is so fucking funny. I find Alan Carr quite funny anyway, and he is hilarious in this. It is so stupid and it's so funny. I love Cat Burns. I love Stephen Fry. Complete side note, but I actually worked for Stephen Fry's production company when I was a little uni student. So when I was at uni, we had to do an internship, and I worked for Stephen Fry's production company. It's called Sprout Pictures. I don't know if it's still around. It's kind of like a small production company. Like, they don't make like big, huge, massive blockbusters, or at least they didn't when I was there. And I interned there for, I think, 2 months, and I had a whale of a time. I met so many famous people. This was probably back in like, how old would I have been? So I would have been 19 or 20. So this would have been in like, when did I graduate? 2013. So this would have been like 2012. So this was a long time ago, and I had such a great time. It was very intimidating. There was one of the directors, or I can't remember who she was, but she was very senior and very scary. And I met Stephen Fry. He was absolutely lovely. And when I was like, oh, because he was like, oh, like, how are you? Like, what was your role here? And I was like, oh, I'm just an intern. He was like, no, there's no such thing as just. He was like, everyone who works here is a very important and valid member of the team. And he was genuinely a delight, a very lovely person, very sweet, very just normal guy, and I've been really loving watching him in the trailers. This is like my claim to fame. I also worked with Idris Elba, who was very nice and very sweet and very attractive. And then I also worked with Paul O'Grady, who was really nice. I loved Paul O'Grady so much. I worked with a bunch of other people, but those are the only ones of note that I can remember. Complete side story, complete tangent, but I am, yes, watching The Traitors and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Jump is going well. I'll keep you posted. So pleased with how this has turned out. So my last update, I was finishing off the sleeves, and I think I did mention that the sleeves and the kind of cinched cuff that I was doing, and just the sweater in general, was feeling a little bit stiff and not as flowy and not as nice and drapey as I would have liked. So I did end up bunging it in the washing machine, and then I wove in the rest of the ends of like the sleeves and the sleeve ribbing and like seaming up the sides after it was washed. I will say it has relaxed really nicely from the washing machine. I really wasn't expecting it to relax as much as it has. So it's turned out a little bit longer than I was expecting it to. It's not like so long that I don't like it, but it is longer than I was initially expecting it to stretch out. Same with the sleeves, but only like ever so slightly. They kind of like the ribbing now kind of just sits on my hand, which I really don't mind having a slightly baggier, looser sleeve, but it definitely has stretched out, and I wasn't expecting it to stretch out just from putting it in the washing machine, particularly because it is quite a tight short stitch and it's tapestry and it's acrylic, you know, so I wasn't expecting it to loosen up as much as it did. But I actually like it. I think the drape has turned out really nice because of me putting it in the washing machine. The sleeves have definitely relaxed as well, and I do have a little clip of me trying the sweater on before blocking, and now this is what it looks like after blocking. So you can definitely see there has been a transformation. I was a little bit worried when it kind of came out of the washing machine, because I was like, oh, I can kind of see visually that it has like stretched out a little bit, and I was a bit worried about how the actual tapestry part was going to look in terms of like No Face being like stretched, if that makes sense. I think luckily, because he is quite a gangly character anyway, like he's quite long and he's quite like narrow and quite stretched out, I think it kind of works in my favor. But you can definitely see that the whole sweater is sitting quite a bit longer. Like, this is my waist, these are my hips, and then now the sweater's sitting a little bit longer. It kind of basically like covers my butt. I really love how the tapestry turned out. I think it looks so good, and like I said, I'm really glad that I didn't have to like faff around with the tapestry itself, and it was ended up being like basically the perfect size for me to make a sweater. The sleeves turned out really cute. I really like the addition of the checkerboard, and I'm glad that I did like a little bit of purple at the beginning and the end, because as much as I love adding like a new color into like the sleeves or incorporating something new into some area of a crochet sweater, I do still want it to like look and feel cohesive, and I think by adding the purple at the top of the sleeve and at the bottom, it just kind of like marries everything up quite nicely. But yeah, I think it's turned out really good. I love the fit of it, and I feel like it's going to become a really nice like slouchy throw on kind of sweater for me, and I feel like the colors I chose are going to slot in really nicely into my wardrobe as well. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. Also, let me show you how much yarn I have left. So this this is all of the purple colour that I have left. I think I want to say I had like 400 grams, I think, maybe to start with. So this is quite good that this is like kind of what I've ended up with. I have 2 full skeins of the mint and then 1 kind of like medium-sized ball left as well. And I think I started off with 300 grams of the mint. And then for the kind of creamy colour, which I used for the mask and then the sleeves, I have 1 full skein and then like a decent chunk of 1 other skein left. So I did use a decent amount of yarn, not a huge amount, but I definitely used majority of the kind of purpley shade, which I much prefer, and I'm glad that I went for like a solid purple back as well. So I did have a look on Ty Bailey's page, and they aren't actually offering this tapestry anymore, but I do think that you can find this tapestry on like Pinterest and maybe like on Etsy and stuff. I personally haven't looked, but I do feel like because it's a relatively simple design and it's like quite minimal amount of colors, you could probably find it from another designer or a variation of a No Face tapestry from another designer. But I am so glad that I was able to finally turn this tapestry into a sweater, because I have been wanting to do this since like the beginning of 2025, and I bought this yarn like maybe like mid 2024 because I knew that I wanted to turn this graph into a sweater. But now I finally have, and I'm so pleased. I'm really enjoying like actually executing all of the things that I said I wanted to do, especially for like 2025, where like my perfect hen sweater and this sweater, like those are 2 big projects that I was like, I said I wanted to do in 2025 but just like never got around to. So I'm really glad that I've been able to actually do them, and I have loved the outcomes. I think I'm really pleased with both of these sweaters. But yeah, this is my finished No Face tapestry sweater. Let me know in the comments what you think, and of course subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I will hopefully catch you in the next one.